Hi everybody. I'm Mr. Zhang. So today we would like to talk about the unemployment. So please make these notes in your own notebook and also send to me after you finish the drafting your own notes. First of all, we just have some recap on unemployment. So unemployment means that actually people who are in the labor force but actually find jobs and however they have no job. So basically, when we talk about the overall effect for unemployment, we have to know how to calculate unemployment rate and also how to define unemployment. So in the society, we have populations, so we have labor force and also we have non-labor force. All these we have already mentioned in the textbook, okay, and also the last time in the notebook, so that's why I skipped that. And however, when we talk about the people who cannot find jobs, then basically we call it unemployed people. And for the people who can find job, so we call it they are employed people. And for the employed people, we can be employed by someone or self-employed, and also included the underemployed people. Underemployed, that means that they want to work longer time. However, the producers, the firms, they are involuntarily lower their working hours, so that we call it underemployed situation. And these are some data. So you can see that there is employment, underemployment, unemployed numbers. And how can we find out the labor force? So basically, we just add the employed number with the unemployed numbers. So according to here, so don't add the underemployed because it is already inside the calculation of employed people. So that's why we just use 200 plus 300. Then you can find out the 500, okay? And if you want to find out the unemployment rate, you just find out the unemployed number, divide the labor force times 100%, then you can find out the unemployment rate. Same method to find out the employed rate is the employed number divided by the labor force times 100%. So one very important thing is that if we try to find out, if I just have employed number, employment rate, but I don't have unemployment rate, how can we do? So actually you can just use 100 and then minus employment rate, then you can find the unemployment rate. Other than that, in the economy, they also want to know on top of the overall population, how much percent of the people belong to the labor force. Then basically we call it labor participation rate. We use the labor force divided by the population times 100%, then we'll be fine. So in the public exam, after we learn about how to calculate the unemployment rate, sometimes they always give you different example to show under different situation how's the effect on the unemployment rate. We always say that when we try to find out the unemployment rate effects, so basically we need to do is show the formula. For example, if many students graduate from the university, how does it affect all these rates? So we show the formula. So like unemployment rate equal to unemployed number divided by labor force times 100%. So when they graduate from the university, then we know that labor force will increase, but at the same time unemployed number also increase because some of them may not find job. So that's why the numerator increase and denominator also increase. So the overall effect is uncertain. Depends which change, percentage change is greater. Then how about for the labor participation rate? We know that the overall population size does not change because the graduate, but with more graduate, then we know that the labor force will go up. So that's why the numerator increase, denominator keep unchanged, so the labor participation rate will be higher. So other than that, for example, the second example, if many students graduate from the university, all have job, how does that affect that? So if all have job, that means labor force increase, unemployed number keep unchanged, unemployment rate will fall. On the other hand, about the labor participation rate, labor force increase, unchanged in the population size, so there will be increase in the labor participation rates. Example 3. If many students graduate from the university and all of them have no job, what happened? So then this one will increase, right? Labor force will increase and the unemployed number will increase. So however, they should increase at the same amount. So this one increase will be exactly equal to labor force increase amount. So they increase with the same amount. However, when we talk about the divisions, so the effect should be looking at the percentage change. And the unemployed numbers, the base should be less than the labor force. So that's why if they increase by the same amount in terms of percentage, the unemployed number increased percentage should be higher than the labor force increased percentage. So overall, the unemployment rate goes up. So this one, the same as before. Example 4. Lots of people, Hong Kong people, attracted to work in Macau, assume the job position are unchanged, or sometimes we say that fully occupied in Hong Kong. How does it affect the unemployment rate, and labor force participation rate? So for the labor force participation rate, we know the labor force will go down. So population also go down because they move from Hong Kong to Macau. So but they drop will be the same amount, but it is a division. So we look at the percentage change. Of course, the labor force in terms of amount should be less than the population base amount. So that's why if they drop by the same amount, the labor force drop percentage should be higher than the labor force drop percentage. So that's why the labor participation rate will fall. And then how about the unemployment rate? So labor force will drop, unemployed number will also drop. Why? Because originally there is a fully occupied, and then some people, Hong Kong people, attracted to do work in Macau. Then the unemployed people in Hong Kong, they will, okay, what will they do? They will fill up the unemployed gaps in Hong Kong, the job vacancy in Hong Kong, not unemployment gap. It's they fill up the job vacancy in Hong Kong. So that's why labor force will decrease and unemployed number will also decrease. As the base of the unemployed numbers is smaller than the labor force base, so that's why if they drop with the same amount, so unemployment drop number percentage should be greater than the labor force drop percentage. So that's why the unemployment rate fall. So if the question say that the job position unchanged and fully occupied, that means the people who have work and go to Macau, then the job vacancy left will be filled up by the unemployed people in Hong Kong. So that's why the unemployed number will drop by the exact amount. Understand? Okay. So then we go to question number 5. If some people retired, how does it affect that? So if we also say that job position is unchanged, that means, okay, that means after they retired, so the unemployed people will fill up the gap. So that's why the unemployed number will decrease and the labor force also decrease. They decrease in the same amounts. So in terms of percentage, unemployment rate will drop more than the labor force drop percentage because the base of unemployed people is smaller than the base of labor force. So unemployment will fall. And for this one, very simple lah. Okay, understand? Alright. So however, if in the question like example 4 and example 5, if the data does not mention about the job position is unchanged, then the unemployed number may be fall down or the unemployment will be constant. Then unemployed numbers. So that's why the unemployment rate should be uncertain change. The reason behind is that if we don't say that job position is remain unchanged, then maybe after people leave, then the firm does not open the position to the unemployed people. So in this case, the unemployed people cannot fill up the gap. So that's why bear in mind the data given. If there is no mention, didn't mention about job position remain unchanged, then we know that the labor force will decrease, but the unemployed number may not decrease. So overall effect should be uncertain. Alright. And then how about question number example 6? Many foreigners come to work in Hong Kong. So how does it affect unemployment rate, labor force? So all this, so when they come to work but they may not find job, that's why unemployed number increase, labor force increase. So the change is uncertain, depends on the percent change in unemployment number and also the labor force. On the other hand, labor force will increase, population will also increase, but as the base issue, both increase by the same amount. So labor force increase percentage will be higher than the labor force the population size increase percentage. So that's why the labor force participation rate will be higher. So same as the question number 7, but be careful. Now they give a condition that working position is unchanged in Hong Kong. So many foreigners come to Hong Kong to work, but the working position unchanged in Hong Kong. That means all of them cannot find job, because originally we all work in Hong Kong position, fill up all the job. So they come here, that means they can't find any job. So that's why labor force will increase, unemployment number will also increase, but division, we look at the percentage. This 1% change will be higher than that because the base is smaller. So unemployment rate increase. On the other hand, so the labor participation rate also do the similar situation. So labor participation rate will be higher. So in the examination, so similar question already be included. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask, okay, through the WhatsApp to ask me. So unemployment actually is not good to the society, right? So these are the cause of unemployment, but bear in mind, in the examinations, they always ask you about to which point of view. If it is to the individual, so living standard will be lower, family problem, loss of skills, because you get unemployed for so long time, you forget about the skills. And to the society, there will be lower GDP, fewer workers to produce, there will be social problem, there will just people will protest, riots, okay, crime rate will be highest. To the government, then there will be financial burden given to the unemployed people, like the transfer payment, financial aid as well. So bear in mind, in the DSE examination, if the question asks you what is the cause to the society of unemployment, so please don't mention about the government's one. We just mention about this two. Okay, don't confuse with that. Only when the question asks about what is the cause to unemployment to the government, then we need to mention about that. Otherwise, please don't. Okay. And last part to chapter 3 is business cycle. So business cycle is talk about the short run fluctuation of the real GDP. So can be the y-axis is the real GDP growth rate, or just the real GDP. And you can see that it will fluctuate along, okay, a long run growth trend. So we call it a business cycle. And then actually for one cycle, you can see that A, B, C, D, okay? So basically we can have a different range. First of all, if you see the upward trend from point A to point B, so we call it expansion or recovery. In this aspect, you see all are dynamic change. That means increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing. It is not a static trend like highest, lowest. So that's why when there is expansion recovery, the price level will go up, or sometimes people will say that there will be inflation rate goes up, or you can say inflation rate goes up, unemployment fall, real GDP goes up, more economic activity, more C, more I, no change in G because fixed by government, no change in X because it is controlled by foreign country GDP, and M, you buy more imports. Fiscal balance, because you have high tax, no change in G, so overall will increase. Trade balance, export no change, import getting higher, overall decrease. All right. And then I just want to tell you more about the YP, the long run potential GDP. It is the potential GDP we always learned of already. It is the maximum GDP that can be produced with all resources and technology fully utilized. So that's why in the long run, it always have an upward trend, because the number of resources, quality of resources, and technology will be improved along the years. That's why we have a upward trend for the full potential GDP. And then how about the points? In the first section is from A to B. Then how about B and D? Okay, so what do we call? So we call it as peak or boom. Okay, but bear in mind it is a static, so that's why you cannot say increase and decrease. Price level is the highest, unemployment rate is low, real GDP is high, economic activity high, no change, because controlled by foreign GDP, controlled by the governments. So there will be high imports, fiscal balance high, trade balance low. Why fiscal balance is high? Because it is equal to T minus G. So this one is high, and this one is no change. And why is low? X minus M. And this one is high, and this one is no change by the local GDP. That's why it's low. And the third sections, we call it as from B to C or D to E. And then we call it as recession or contraction. So price level go down, unemployment go up, real GDP go down. Bear in mind, it is movement. That's why you see all are dynamic, not high, not low, must be changing. Okay, and C decrease, I decrease, no change in G, X no change, depends on foreign country GDP, M decrease. Similar logics with the recovery, so just opposite. All right, and last but not least is the C and E. So we call it as, okay, depression or trough. So the price level is low, unemployment is high, economic activity low, no change, M no. Okay, so low. Similar logic, you can derive the fiscal balance is low, trade balance is high. Okay, but bear in mind is that when the local GDP increase, basically the export no change, depends on foreign country GDP, but import goes up, so the trade balance will fall. And this one is when the GDP local increases, tax will go up, G remain no change. That's why overall will go up. Okay. So then, next lessons, I will focus on ADAS model. So please read through the unemployment and also the business cycle first, and drop down the notes. I want to see everybody's notes in the WhatsApp group. So please upload it later on. See you guys. Bye bye.